what an ominous thing you have. Death stones are cursed stones that call upon the forces of death. A stone such as this can cast a shadow on my arcane art. Under certain circumstances, death will appear and warp the laws of fusion. When this occurs, a fiend, a bearer of death, will manifest itself. Though they are not good, they cannot be classified as evil either. In the end, it is you who will decide their nature.
What the hell, you want me to join you? BB, you're hot, and I love that ass. That seemed to work well. Yes, sometimes that's all it takes to get a demon to join you. Just have another demon that looks attractive to the one you're trying to get, and it will just work itself out for you. That being said, welcome back to part 10 of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, where today we are finally climbing the Mantra headquarters properly. Going into it, exploring the basement and all the floors up. Although there are technically something like 50 odd floors, there's really only 4. You got the basement, the 3 floors going up, and then there's a lift that takes you to floor 50. So it's not as big as you might first think when you look at the tower and be like, oh god, no, it's only a few floors and then you just take the lift. Or the elevator if you're from the US. But either way, you get the easy access up. But as soon as you enter, if you make a left, there's a lift right in front of you, and this one will take you between floors B1, 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to just jump around instead of having to climb all the stairs and whatnot and get through it a bit quicker, you can do. There's nothing stopping you from immediately going up to floor 3, going to the opposite end of that, and then taking the lift up to 50. And the reason why they do that is because you'll be returning to this place a couple times throughout the duration of the game. So once you've explored it all out, which is what they want you to do on your first run, you have an easy way of just getting around quickly on the later runs. So to start off, I do immediately go into B1 because there's actually a unique door down here that is worth highlighting. And whilst we're heading towards that door, I can talk about death stones that were mentioned at the very start of this video. The death stone we picked up in the Labyrinth of Amala 2 videos ago is how you are able to fuse fiends. But it's not as simple as having the death stone and you can fuse them. Every single fiend can only be fusible on certain moon phases. To give an example, the Matador, if you wait till a full moon, you probably won't be able to get him. It's usually at phase 1 or phase 2. I think phase 3 as well gets counted. That if you go to fuse, he can show up in the fusion thing if you've got the calculation right, like a normal fusion trying to get a specific demon. So you have to have that in place. Once you fuse a fiend, a death stone will lose its glimmer and you'll no longer be able to fuse that. You won't no longer be able to fuse another fiend until you get more. There's exactly enough death stones to fuse one of every single fiend in the game, and once you fuse them once, you can refuse them later and it not spend any more death stones. So once you fuse them, you fuse them to unlock the right to have them whenever. But in this door, on the right-hand side, that door way in the back will lead to a room where there's another locked door. But you want to come down this way anyway, because other than the fact there's a couple of unique encounters, there's a cutscene that you can kind of completely miss. Like, it's an entirely optional scene, because you don't have to come down here, and if you go up to the top and finish this dungeon, it will trigger certain events that will cause the follow-up to this cutscene to change. Especially after the dungeon following this as well. There's another dungeon after this one that will drastically change what's happening here in the Mantra HQ and will be our first excuse to come back. But I won't spoil that yet. We'll get to that when we get to that. But I hope you guys have been well. I have been extremely busy over the weekend. I mean, to be fair, I managed to squeeze in a lot of time playing Neptunia Reverse because I managed to get it a few days early. Well, a few days early if you live in the US, real goddamn early if you live in the UK. Like, I got it 6 whole days earlier than its intended release in the UK. So I've been playing a lot of that. And to be fair, despite the fact it's yet another remaster of the original Neptunia, it does enough that I think it justifies its existence. Like, just enough.
So, you actually made it. Freaking bastards. How long do they plan on keeping me locked up? Anyway, I heard the news. You won the trial by combat, huh? I've managed to stay alive too. Somehow. I don't think they'll kill me just yet. As soon as I get the chance, I'm out of here. Maybe once my back heals. Shit! Forget about that. There's something you gotta know. You know how the Nihilo have some sort of maiden on their side? That's our teacher, man! Get it? We don't have any time to lose. The Mantra are getting ready to raid the Nihilo's compound as we speak. And if they find her, she's as good as dead. Please, you gotta go save her. You know damn well the Mantra don't mess around. With your power, I'm sure you can at least do something. Me? Well, I'm just stuck here. Don't make me beg you to go.
And just like that, our hunt down for the Assembly of Nelio has now been double dipped in its priority. Because now we know that the maiden they're using for their power source is our teacher. The one from the very start of the game who made sure we stayed alive so he didn't get murdered in that very first video. Like, when we was in the basement of the medical center. So now we have double the reason to hunt down the Assembly of Nelio. Because it's not just a getting answers, it's also a rescue mission. But as you see, I go out of my way to start moving to a different one. Because you can see, our Magatama isn't really moving. So it's going to be a number of levels yet before we can get Might. Well, it's moving slightly, so it'll be like 2 or 3. So I equip Narukami, which is what we got for defeating 4 a couple videos ago. And start pressing on, because we can get some nice skills out of it while we're at it. And it's something else to level up while we're waiting for Might to become available. This is the door. You need 25 raw strength. Not 25 boosted with your Magatama, 25 raw. So as you can see right now, I've got 25 but only boosted with Magatama, so I cannot open that door for another 5 level ups yet. Minimum. Assuming I put all 5 into my strength stat. Which, to be fair, I kind of do, because I want to get that Magatama now so I don't forget about it later. Not that it matters, because if you get it at this point, because of how goddamn early you'll have it, you'll notice that Magatama not only doesn't move, it won't move for a very long time. You'll be at the mid to late level 60s, I think, before it will start moving even remotely, because that's when they expect you to go back and pick it up. It's one of the optional Magatamas they expect, if you're going for 100%, to be on your cleanup routine at the very end of the game. But I will pick up a lot of those optional Magatamas as soon as available. In fact, so far in my recording, every optional Magatama I've picked up the very moment it is available. Even if it does make a situation slightly harder than it needs to be. On my way back, Uzume leveled up. I don't think I keep life bonus, because it's 10% extra health. Like, it's not that significant. Mana refill, however, that is a godsend. Mana refill is the skill I've been talking about on and off for the past few videos. The one where as you walk, it regenerates your MP. Making it so you can become entirely self-sustaining as a party and not have to worry about constantly leaving the dungeon to restore your MP just so you can stand a better chance against what you're up against. You can start becoming a little looser with your magic uses, so as long as you don't burn it all out ridiculously and then get another encounter 2 steps later, you can carry on going for an entire dungeon. Which, as you can imagine, will become insanely helpful later on. But the Mantra HQ is, for lack of a better words, our next real dungeon. That this game does get kind of dungeon heavy in the mid game, where it feels like you're just going from one big area with a big boss at the end to another. Oh, shall I let this continue? Let's find out. Okay, that one worked out. Zeonga became Muzionga, so the tier 2 electric became group wide tier 2 electric. And for a trouble, Taraka will also give us a float ball, which is nice. It's an evasion of floor hazards until the next moon cycle. That's the thing to mention. With all the bells and balls and whatnot, whether it be light ball, float ball, repulse spells, yada yada, when you use them, they don't last until a complete cycle of the moon. They last until the next new moon, no matter what. I went back and healed up and saved there, which is why there was a cut. You can tell by the moon cycle how much it shifted. So if it's gone like from phase 2 down to phase 1, don't use it there, because it will last about 5 seconds. You'll take 3 steps, it will hit 0, and then it will say the effect wore off. Don't do it. Just keep on pressing on, or if it's like something that's too dangerous to justify, like it's a floor hazard and you're nearly dead, back up, do a little circle until it passes or hits new, and then use it. We leveled up. So now I'm trying to go, okay, no, I want Gaia. So, which is what the name of that Magatama. Shock to low level, low shock damage, but it's random. No, I'll pass. No, someone's acting violently with you. You let it act. Oh, god damn it. I got stunned for the trouble. Ow. But that is something you just got to accept as the game goes on. The odds of you getting something good out of a Magatama isn't the highest. It's always worth doing, but it's not the highest. But over here on the east side of the Mantra HQ is a great gate that is currently guarded, so you cannot pass through it. This is your alternate way back to the open map that we will need to take once it is available to proceed onwards. So just commit it to memory a little bit that that's there, because if you leave from where we came in of Ikebukuro, you will realize that you're very limited in options of where you can go. It's mostly just back to the underpass. Which, if you're gonna backtrack to places, don't walk. You've got the terminals for a reason. Just warp over there. Later in the game, there'll be points where it'll ask us to warp back to very early locations in the game. And when you think about how far we've already traveled, asking us to go all the way back to, say, the medical center for a side quest, that's a long trek. Just warp there. But if you come up to the second floor, they have more than one arena, it seems. But whoever fought on this second floor clearly didn't make it and was massacred for the trouble. But the third floor is the one that we fought in and had our encounter with 4. Yeah, sure, yeah, we'll try the Bufu. Oh, the guys on the edges are weak to ice. That works out. But so far my recording, because as I keep on saying, I record far ahead just to make sure I can keep up with the upload schedule. I am still a hell of a way ahead right now. I slowed right down, not just because it's at a harder point in the game, so I knew it was going to slow down, and like the dungeon's getting more complicated and whatnot. But it's also because, I'm playing other stuff, and my recording's definitely going to slow down when things like Guilty Gear comes out. Which, if you've got the the special editions, the digital special editions, that's available, I think, the day this uploads. I think this will be available, because it's the 8th, isn't it? I think it's the 8th. But anyway, it'll be available the day this uploads, which will be, for me, tomorrow, because today's the 7th for me. But I'm not getting it on the 8th. I brought the standard, because it's a practice I'm just not fond of. Also, yeah, that was me admiring its design of that demon. A very interestingly creepy one. But, it's just I get why they do it. It's just another thing to get people to buy the special editions and whatnot. But I've never been on board with buy extra to get it early. Because it's like, well, so what you're telling me is it's available on that early day. It's complete and good to go, and it's ready on that earlier day. But if you're not prepared to pay more, you get it 3 days late. Like, I don't look at it as buy the collectors to get it early. It's like, no, buy the collectors to get it when it's ready. And if you haven't got the money spare enough, which I really don't, considering everything else that's coming out in June, I had to kind of pick and choose. It's why I got the day 1 edition of Reverse and not the collectors as much as I wanted it, because I knew it was just financially it wasn't wise. I've got the standard edition of Strive coming as well, and it's just I don't mind waiting to the 11th, but it feels like they're treating it like this is the early day. Get it earlier than you're supposed to. It's like, no, that date is ready. You're just making it a premium to get it on the day it has to. But if you come over here and talk to this Oni, the Onis still hate you. Most of the Onis will still go, nah, I don't like you. I don't care that you beat 4 and got proven innocent. I still don't like you. But so it gets counted as a mini boss, but he wasn't immune to instant kills, so he went very quickly. So much for that. But going down this way, there are other prisoners or people that just work within against their will that you can talk to. Oh, you want something? I'm not Gozo Tenno, you know. Yeah, no, you're not. When we see Gozo Tenno, you'll know that that's a very easy distinction to make. Your sarcasm is not appreciated, mannequin. Sure, let's open this. Oh, an attract pipe. That boosts the encounter rate. And in some dungeons later on, you'll say, why the hell would you want to use an item that boosts the encounter rate when it's already through the roof in some dungeons? It's grinding purposes. What else do you think it is? I'll be using those attract pipes when I need to grind up to hit certain levels to get things that I'm after. Like, we had our first significant grind session before Matador, where I grinded up to level 18 so I could have Uzume in my party for that boss fight. And you saw how much I struggled with that. Yeah, I made stupid mistakes where I panicked a little. You could see it was still a difficult fight. It still tests you. So with that in mind, yeah, there are going to be other parts in this game going forward where they will expect you to grind up a little bit. You can kind of get away with it for a long more while, and if you're wise and cunning and very precise and maybe, you know, do a bit of research on demon fusions, you can kind of get away with not having to grind at certain points. You just have to be wary of yourself, that you might be a little bit more frail even if your own demons are carrying you. And that's something that will especially ring true if you're playing on hard mode. I mentioned it a lot, but hard mode in this game is the biggest reason why Nocturne became so infamous for its difficulty. Because normal mode is unforgiving, don't get me wrong, but it never, at least to me, never really feels unfair, outside of the Nocturne moments that we talk about every now and then, where like you just get really unlucky and you go, and it's like an encounter where the enemy goes first and they all happen to target you and maybe one of them gets a crit, and so they just kill you before you get a chance to go. But that's just unfortunate. That's something that's throughout the entire franchise, and it's something that even happens in the older Personas. The only reason it doesn't really happen in Persona 4 and 5 is because they're significantly easier games, so even if the enemy goes first and they all attack one character, you're probably going to live anyway. And even if you're in Hazard, base Persona 4 makes it so your teammates will die for you as soon as you meet them. So you will always have a safety net, or they will jump in the way to take the bullet. They will cover you. So the chance of you dying is extremely unlikely. Yeah, they altered that to make a bit more sense in 4 Golden, and to be fair, it's a change I appreciated. It's always kind of humorous. As much as I put like over 1,500 hours into base Persona 4, it's still something that I really appreciate when I went to Golden. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. If you wouldn't sacrifice your life for someone you just met, you'd sacrifice your life for someone you love dearly if you're going to at all. But anyway, in this back corner, there's another elevator. And it goes all the way up to floor 60. And if you click on it, it will make you wait and count up all the way up. This does actually technically count as a cutscene, this bit, so you can skip it if you press circle. But I just thought it was humorous that if you don't skip it, you have to wait as the lift goes across every single floor. And what you'll notice is that when it started, the first couple floors it went up slowly where it was picking up speed. It reached its peak speed inside, like going up at a consistent number. But when we approach 60, it slows down again realistically. So it always takes just that little bit longer than you think it is. Look, 55, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. You sit that whole stretch. But don't worry, if once you're done with the dungeon, there's a very quick way of getting back off. You can kind of already see it. It's those steps to nowhere. It's actually the ledge that Dante was standing on that he jumped down to us. You can jump down yourself if you want to. This demon I really desperately wanted to try and get because he's amazing for fusion tool. He's a good, like, there's certain demons in this game throughout it that you're only going to want or be recommended to get because they make good fusion material. Because they can either lead to a good demon or they get decent skills on them you'll want to put on a demon. But the demon themselves aren't that good. And that bird is one that I would count in that category. It's something nice to have to fuse off, but it's not necessarily a good demon in its own right. But when you're ready, proceed up this kind of longish staircase. They do make you kind of go the distance to reach the peak of this place. 62, 63, I think it'll be like 65 floors up. I'm surprised I kept this encountering, because I don't think anything special happens in this. It's just the same enemy, but more of them. Unless they do something, or one of them goes to talk to me. I can't really remember off the top of my head. But let's talk about the point I was talking about earlier. Before we're in more cutscenes, and suddenly the video's over, because it becomes mostly cutscenes beyond this point for a while. Essentially, my recording has slowed down, but that's not the only thing that's going to be slowing it down. I will do a proper update video, probably, as and when it really starts, but I have essentially picked up a second job. In the real world now talk, I'm now working 2 jobs. My evening job that I've done for the past 4 years I'm still doing, but now I've picked up one to do during the daytime on certain days of the week. Because of that, my upload schedule of first thing in the morning UK time is going to have to change for me to keep that up. I'm still ironing out the details, so I won't do the video yet talking about it, like what I'm going to do, how I'm going to handle the editing, where I'm going to rearrange, but the schedule will probably be rearranged to be later in the day every day. But that being said, we've got a cutscene, so I'll shut up for now.
Shall tremble when the Almighty descends from above. God's resounding echoes shall pierce the land.
Welcome, Demi-Fiend. It is an honor to receive you. I am Gozu Tenno. As the head of the mantra, I lead the demons that gather here. I was truly impressed by your battle. The emergence of a new, mighty demon. It is remarkable indeed. But first, let me reward you. Please accept this gift. Do you feel the power coursing through your veins? Should you choose to serve me, I shall grant you even greater power. What say you? Joining the mantra must seem a tempting offer, is it not?
This isn't a reason choice, this is a morality choice. If you side with him, you'll be more demonic. If you decline him, you'll be more human. I just don't want to side with anyone because I'm going true demon, so I turn him down.
Not enough Magatsuhi to slake your thirst? You are quite a greedy one. Insatiable greed is a demon's virtue, however. I am sure you will grow stronger with or without my guidance. But do not dare to oppose me. If you do, you can imagine the consequences. Now, as you may already know, our enemy is the Assembly of Nihilo. They are threatening us with their plots to bring the world to a halt. We can no longer overlook their madness. So I have made the decision. We, the mantra, will wage war on Nihilo and obliterate them. I have already ordered my soldiers to attack their headquarters in Ginza. If you call yourself a demon, make haste to Ginza. Crush those who pose a threat to the world. I am Gozu Tenno, the one who will rule the kingdom of chaos.
But despite the fact you turn him down, if you decide to do so, what he'll expect from you and what you're doing next doesn't change. You're still going to kind of be working for him for a little while, because he wants to storm the Assembly in Nelio, because they act as the only real threat to the mantra. And since you want to get to the Assembly in Nelio anyway, your goals just align. So even if you disagree with him and don't want to side with him, you'll still be working with him because of met goals. But if you decide to come over here, I'm going to warn you right now. Make sure you have some kind of healing on you before you do it. This is really high. Jump off. Are you sure? Yep. Yep. Away. It's a long drop, but you will land in front of the Mantra HQ. Don't move. Bring up your menu. Heal. It will put everyone at 1 HP. You can't you're not Dante. Dante can tank any fool. You can't. Don't be stupid. Funnily enough, there's a couple points later in the game where there's equally stupid high jumps, and if you go to take them, the game will just say this will kill you. You know, don't do it. There's one in a dungeon that I recorded a little while ago, a couple days ago, I think, where it does straight up say this is a really high jump. You cannot jump from here. It will kill you. But this is the only bit of the Mantra HQ I'd yet to show off. But once you're done with the Mantra HQ, the second fiend of the game unlocks. If you go back into the west wing of Ikebukuro and start wandering around, you will eventually stumble back here in the back room, and it will say, "There's a terrifying demon. Do you wish to stay here? Are you sure?" "Yes, indeedy." And by doing so, you gain access to the second Fiend fight. We did dealt with Matador, but now we got a new challenge.
Are you the Fiend who has been seduced by the power of darkness? Man is destined to die and the world to end. Yet still, you challenge the order of the universe. Do not lose sight of the truth, Demi-Fiend. Your struggle against death is futile. No matter how many menorahs you gather, the shadow on your heart will not be lifted. It is my duty to save those who have gone astray. Let me be your guide. Receive my salvation. Accept your death.
Daisojo is easier than Matador. So what I'm going to make a point of saying is that Matador is the most challenging one for most players. Every single other Fiend afterwards, you have a better understanding of what to expect and a better understanding of what they'll try and do. Every single one of them usually has a gimmick of some kind that you need to be wary of, but it doesn't change the fact that you have a better knowledge of the pattern, you have more demons at your disposal to fuse, and you're probably just a better level range than you would have been with Matador. So these fights aren't going to be as tough as before. Daisojo still shouldn't be taken the mick of. He can still kill you, but he's not that much of a threat. He really isn't. Just keep on top of your buffs and nerfs and just work him down. But Daisojo is arguably the most significant Fiend next to Matador. Like, Matador is infamous for how much of a noob trap beginner wall that he is. Daisojo is infamous for an entirely different reason. Not because of the fight against him, but because he's one of the best demons to have on your team in the game by a country mile. And the reason why I say this is because Daisojo is 110% completely self-sustaining because of meditation. Meditation is both an HP and MP drain that will do about 80. It will do around 80 damage and around 80 magic damage, regardless of level and stats. If you lower the enemy's defense, it will do a bit more, and if your magic attack is lowered, it will do a little less. But when it's on your team, it will do around 80 health and about 80 MP. And that's drained, not taken, drained. So Daisojo will get 80 more HP and get 80 more MP back. Meaning you're a lot more free, even during a fight, to do whatever the hell you want, because the moment you get low on MP, you can just meditate it back. Literally in the middle of the fight. Mana refill only works because you're walking around in the fight. So if it's a long-winded fight, you'll still run out of MP. Whilst Daisojo can literally just keep itself going. But that's only part of what makes Daisojo magical. Daisojo will very shortly learn Prayer. It only takes 2 or 3 levels after you get him to learn Prayer. Prayer is salvation. If you played the Persona games, you know what I'm talking about. Prayer is the strongest, or Salvation is the strongest healing skill in the entire game. Because it is tier 3, which is Diarahan and Mediarahan. Tier 3 is full heals no matter what. They don't heal a large amount, no, they're 100% heals. Mediarahan is 100% heals party-wide. But what makes Salvation better than Mediarahan, or Prayer in this game, is that it also is like a full restoring Pokemon, removes all status conditions party-wide. As I get hit with an instant kill there, really unluckily. Which is just unfortunate, but it happens. So having Prayer / Salvation on your side, it's an ultimate reset switch to get rid of any negative thing about you. A party member's poisoned, or another's asleep, another's stunned, and it's just Daisojo on its own. Prayer, the entire party is not only back, but in full force. That's what I mean. Like, it's such a powerful and effective skill duo to have that you can get your MP back whenever you want, and you literally have Salvation on him, making him the ultimate team medic. Because as long as he's not the only one being targeted and killed, he will always keep the entire party alive without any stress. I will be picking him up, and I will be keeping him in my party for a long time. Don't know if it'll be the whole stretch of the game, because I haven't got up by it, but I'll definitely be keeping him with us for a long while, because he's just such a... Like, you're literally just punching yourself by not having him. Like, there's no reason to not. You should just get him. He also has Preach, which I suppose is a thing. If you want to make the most of him, your best bet is to actually have refusions later on. Or wait when you go to fuse him and add a third variable. Essentially, you need to make it so you have to inherit as many skills as possible on him, so that when he unlocks the extra skills, you can just replace the shit ones. Because to be honest, he gets both Mahamayon and Mumadoon, or Marmudoon, which are light instant kill and dark instant kill party-wide. But instant kills, as you'll go through this game, you'll realise, unless they're being used at you, are kind of worthless. So if you can replace those skills with other things, you should really go for it. There's a lot you can get on these demons by committing to them later on. Because all of us are resistant to light, the rest of us are fine. I just leave Unicorn out of the fight because I know it's not worth the hassle, especially because Daisojo is dead right there. And it's another level up on Demi-Fiend, so we can get one step closer to picking up Gaia. I think after the next dungeon, because we're going to pursue the assembly in Niliho, but when we're done, we do come back here. When we come back, I think that's around when my strength is high enough to get Gaia get the Magatama. But that's our second fiend, and once you've done that one, there is another one that will also be available to us in a little while. So they're going to start coming to you at a relatively fast pace. But as you can see, under a full moon or under a phase 7, Daisojo will slot himself in on fusions before. And as you can see, like meditate, he starts with meditation, which is amazing. But he will learn Marmudoon, then the next one is prayer, and then the last is preach. Prayer is the salvation. Preach is an alright group-wide attack skill, but it's really nothing special. It does mind damage and will attempt to inflict mind-based conditions, but that's kind of it. But just to wrap up this video, I make a new demon as well to carry us through the next area, which will be pressing towards the Assembly of Nilio next time. So until then, you guys take care now. Peace.